Hey, this is Azbolg, and I'm back with a sequel to the video Assassin's Might, the PvP build. And I've made a few adjustments to that build, which have improved that build, as you've probably seen in the second PvP video. Go check it out if you haven't already. Let's walk into this build a little bit and explain some of the changes I made. Let's start with the two-handed bar and what I've changed to improve it. First of all, I was talking about critical rush, and you need to have a gap closer in some way to close out your enemy. You're gonna have the sorcerers that blink away, people who dodge roll, and I've tried to play. I was trying to play a dual wield spec with no closer, and you're gonna have a problem, like, because people are gonna get away from you in a way, like, and I choose Stampede over Ambush, which was something I was harping on about before, about multiple attributes, is because the animation compared to Ambush is so much cleaner and the Critical Rush slash Stampede. Now Stampede is the morph out of that, and what you want it, why you want to get it over Critical Rush, because you're like, man, I'm doing a super damage critical based on the distance traveled. And this, you get the snare. Obviously, this is the PvP version, so whenever you're looking at the skill breakdowns, you're like, man, is this going to be used for PvP or more for PvE? And like another good skill, that is this Clouding Swarm skill, which is Devouring Swarm is the other one. Like, you get healed off that, but Clouding Swarm, you're invisible. Well, it doesn't matter because the mobs still see me when I'm doing PvE. This is a PvP morph of that vampire world morph. So in Stampede, he put a real nasty snare on someone, and it's a 60% snare for 8 seconds. That is a huge nerf. Now in like World of Warcraft, you'd have to charge someone, which was a stun. This doesn't have a stun, but then you'd have to hamstring them always, all the time, just to prevent them from getting away from you. This is a 2-on-1. It's the same kind of ability that the warrior used to have in World of Warcraft, but you don't have to hamstring, because the hamstring is built into the mechanic of the charge. The animation is so clean and so quick, I can just zip around the battlefield. As you can see in my PvP videos, I sort of just zip around, and it's really quick. If I'm focusing in and I feel like the tide is turning in the battle, zipping at people. I still use Wrecking Blow. This is the main reason why I choose this spec, because this is the main reason why you're going to win in fights. I was trying to dual wield out, and unless you have ambush or a way to really stun lock your opponent repeatedly, or you get really good at it, I probably haven't given enough thought, but Wrecking Blow is a 2-in-1 build in that way, because it does a stun, the same sort of stun, 3.5 second stun, and it forces your opponent to break it. So basically, if they don't break the stun, they're dead. I mean, it hits them so hard, costs so little stamina, and you do a heavy weave. And something that I learned is, like, you're using a heavy two-handed attack, it actually restores stamina. So if you're doing a heavy, I think, staff attack, I think it might restore magicka. And this thing, I think it only happens with heavy attacks. You can see now with the new patch with the siege weapon damage, like what I was talking about, Dark Cloak. Well, now like, you need Dark Cloak. It's a must-have ability, because the fire dot damage, especially because you're probably going to play a vampire, you're going to need to have some way to cleanse yourself. And I've even heard other players saying now that the siege damage so much, they go into the support tree in the Alliance War, and they pick up Purge to remove negative effects, but it costs a ton of magicka. Look how much magicka that costs. That's almost my entire magic pool just to purge myself. It costs me a lot of magicka still to do it, but I enter invisibility, and this is out of the shadow tree, and this is the morph out of that, the cloak ability. Rally is still the same. This is your main heal. You're still going to heal yourself, and this is another problem I was running into with dual wield. If you want to try to be a dual wield Nightblade, and one reason I think a lot of Nightblades they have problems is basically in fights, like say you have a 2v1, you're up against 1v2 or 1vx. You have to have a way to heal yourself, some way to sustain, right? Because if you hit yourself with the rally, you might crit heal yourself for 9,000, and you got about 20,000, 25,000 HP. You know, 9,000 is a big heal. 5,000 if non-crit, big heal. It also gives you a major brutality. And while you might be missing, you know, out of the dual wield tree, some of these really important damage when, you know, someone's stunned, off balance, or basically this is a more dual wield is more of a finishing build. You make really all that up with rally. You just have to make sure you practice and you don't get lazy. So whenever I kill someone or I finish someone off with the two-handed, I cast it because it re-heals me, which I've probably taken some damage, and then it refreshes the duration. I still use double take. So the major one I changed is this. I still use double take. It's just too good. Again, you could put, if you wanted to, I was thinking about what, instead of using, I was talking about in the video where you could use a finisher. If you wanted to use a finisher, instead of, I just wrecking blow heavy hit you, and it's just, the fight doesn't last long. Because if you're stunned, I don't need a finisher. You know, the finisher is you're stunned, and you can't break out of the stun. It's just gonna be way too much damage. Very rarely, there's certain cases where people do drop low, but it's so far and few between. And then you give up. The 20% dodge is insane. Like, it's just, so many people probably don't use it. And I see a lot of more experienced Nightblades in the battlefield use this, and they slip away. They're able to another escape. You know, if that dark cloak isn't working, it takes up a little less magicka. It allows you to bolt across. And actually, I use it oftentimes because I'm bugged in combat, and I'm trying to actually pursue someone. So I'm casting this, sprinting after you. And if you don't have a blink or a bolt escape, or you also don't have a way to use major expedition. And in the dual wield tree, you have a cool morph out of the blade cloak where you can actually do it. But it's just, you're going to use stamina while you're stealth. It's going to just suck away all your stamina, and you're going to be screwed, basically. So unfortunately, that morph probably isn't the right morph. You probably want to go with the other morph and pick up double take to get major expedition. It's just, again, I'm theory building with you, but this is the ultimate build. Like, I don't know if there's going to be a better build than this. This is a pretty good build. But hey, you know, if you have, I'm talking about stamina-based Nightblade builds. The only thing, the reason why you need to heal, and the only way to make up for it, you want to go dual wield, and you're going to need it. It's just, you're going to have to get vigor, and you're going to have to be a rank 10 in the Alliance War, which is a lot. Some people have it, not very many, but if you do have it, I mean, you've played the game a ton, but it does a great heal. Look at 5,000 for 5 seconds, so it's just like rally almost. It's ticking on you for about 1,000. It's probably stamina based, so you're probably getting a little more than, quite a bit more than that. But the nice thing is it's an AoE heal, so if I was dual wield, I would need this ability. I would switch that out. I'd give out major brutality, and then I would get all sort of the finisher type stuff where, you know, people are always off balance with you. But, you know, and I found that this rapid strikes was really, really powerful ability, and it does considerable damage, 2% damage each time. It's a great finisher on people, and I love Hidden Blade. It does a ton of damage. I've seen it. I've been crit by it for like 10,000 damage, so I want to use it. But as we're going to discover in this build, it's just so inferior to this particular build. So I mean, we have a closer, we have a way to stun you, so I don't pick up surprise attack because it'll also overlap with my mark on my other bar, which is the major debuff. I have a way to cleanse and cloak and escape, a way to heal myself in stealth, and I have a way to get myself speed and stealth. And when I'm coming out, I have a 20% dodge chance, which is a game, you know, it's a game breaker. You know, it'll really, you know, you miss, you dodge. You can dodge any attack. One last thing too is you can cloak out of meteor. So a meteor is coming right on you, the animation, that's your counter now. I in my other video, I thought you couldn't get out of it. It was undodge rollable. One of the users commented and talked about it a little bit. I tested it out, and sure enough, if you time it just right, it'll miss, the animation won't even go off, and boom, you escape the meteor impact entirely. You totally negate it with just this simple ability. And now I don't choose meteor because what I noticed is I hated getting it reflected at me. So I'm throwing like a nasty 200, you know, ultimate at you. I'm getting it reflected back at me. It's horrible. And what else? Just people, miss. It'll miss. People dodge. Use the dark cloak. They'll miss them. It just didn't seem to work. And sometimes it would hit people. Sometimes it wouldn't. If they block it, they don't get knocked up, I think. So this Clouding Swarm is by far the more superior attack. Now you could change out Stampede and get that ambush like before. So you give Empower, which makes it a deadly combo. So you Empower into an ultimate of your choice, really. It adds a 20% synergy bonus. But you're going to give up a nasty snare. And think about it. I'm snaring you for 8 seconds and I cast this. You're stuck in the entire Clouding Swarm because you can't escape. Because people don't get Shuffle, or Shuffle's the medium armor morph out of this. So Shuffle removes snares. And they definitely probably don't choose the other version of Rally. Some people do that breaks snares, but so few people will snare you anyways that, the good players will snare you like myself. They'll snare you and then you can't escape the Clouding Swarm, so it's 20,000 damage almost. It costs 150 at ultimate if you're in stage 4 vampirism. It goes up considerably if you want to get your health regen up. It doesn't matter. And what I noticed is over stuff like Meteor and this thing procs a lot. Like I can actually, if I am in a pretty long duration fight, like the first scene in the video, I can get it off twice. And it's a great 2v1 if 2 or 3 people are clumped together. And you're invisible. So you're attacking, wrecking, blowing them. And very rarely do people, are they able to survive it. The reality is it's a closer. It's a finisher, really. Like, when you cast it and they're snared, they're screwed. And one thing, little dirty secret, little trip, you made it this far in the video, little trick I'll tell you, is you can't dodge roll this. I was looking back at the footage in the video, people are trying to dodge roll like crazy. They're snared, right? So they're dodge rolling real slow. And my attack, my heavy attack or wrecking blow dodges them, but I'll see the Clouding Swarm tick on them. So it's very, very good. Now for the bow bar. Bow bar is still pretty much unchanged except for a couple abilities. Now I went with a different morph, Camouflage Hunter. Camouflage Hunter is a much better morph in my opinion than Evil Hunter. Evil Hunter is the other morph which gives you stamina. This does all the same stuff, but it does a ton of damage. It does the same stuff as the Evil Hunter does, but it does a ton of damage if you're coming out of stealth. Now I knocked this before because stealth was so buggy. But to be honest with you, so say you're stealth, you throw the caltrops, you re-enter stealth, and if you are able to time it just right, they'll all get triggered on Camo Hunter. So what this does, it creates an attack, basically. And so this normally has a 15% chance or a 1 in 6 chance to do a ton of damage, but you also have a chance to do about, about 700 more damage, something like that, 600-700 more damage, which is a lot. Plus, it's stamina based. Damage on them if it's your 100% when you're stealth. So you're going to do a phenomenal amount of damage. So it's a guaranteed hit critical. So if you're a Bamp, you hit them with the snipe, or in this case, lethal arrow. So I have the other morph, the one that did a debuff of a minor fracture and also increased the mark radius, which is extremely good morph. But this lethal arrow, for whatever reason, it's the same reason why I went with this over critical rush. For some reason, I noticed I was just destroying people more. It just works, is what I'm trying to say. You'll notice that it works more. Just like this works more, this build works. And lethal arrow does a debuff. So I needed a major defile. And so, like, the reason why I didn't get the assassination morph, the incapacitating strike, extremely good ability. People dodge roll it all the time. It misses all the time, even though it's a measly 50 alt. And boy, does it hit you hard when you don't dodge it. It puts a nasty major defile on it. You can see I'm at 31% on the major defile. Now this works off your poison damage, which is something I just noticed when I was making the previous version of this video. Basically, you want to try to spec into the poison, into the champion system. You want to try to start getting the poison and the effects that, like, debilitate your healing. And what I notice is that against better players that are healing each themselves, or in a group of people, a group fighting situation, remember it's sort of a 10v10 or 20v20, it's much harder to heal you, because it's like I'm doing 30% more. Think about it like you're doing 30% more damage against the healer. because they can't heal themselves quite effectively. And there's a lot of ways to heal yourself in the game. So if I get hit with one, I have rally up. Now I'm healing myself 30% less with rally. So instead of a 9,000 crit, it's a 7,000 crit. And that's think about it, it's 2,000 damage sort of theoretically done to me. I still use, so this is just an all-around awesome morph. Also puts a little dot, I noticed, on him too. It applies a little poison attack, it seems. I still use a piercing mark. So it's the same morph. I'm seeing you while you're stealth. It's so powerful. Poison injection. The thing this build lacks is really the execute, right? But now I'm building up my poisons in the champion trees, and with this I am, you know, hitting you with an execute really, and it starts to tick really hard. I want to get this thing to tick 5,000 criticals. People only have like 20,000 HP, so if you drop low, 5,000 crit tick kills you. And you'll notice in the video, a lot of time I'm dodge rolling away from my opponent because I know I hit them with the poison injection, and they die. Like a lot of the time I'm getting attacked, like their buddies come after me, it's already too late. You're already hit with the poison injection, you're dead. And they just don't cleanse themselves or heal themselves, or they don't know how to heal themselves. They don't have a self-heal like Rally is. See, the other option, instead of Rally, that you really have as a Nightblade is a Swallow Soul. This is what I was trying to use in the dual wield spec because you don't have Rally. And unfortunately it just doesn't cut it. You know, it's a good ability. If you're fighting people, it takes magicka, you know. This takes stamina. It takes, you know, I have a ton of stamina-based ability, and that's why you need that vigor ability out of the Alliance War to really make up for the healing. Poison injections is your execute. That's the simplest way to say it. Like, if you feel like you can't finish your opponent off, you have to switch your bolt bar and hit them with the poison injection while you're dodge rolling away or something. And of course, Razor Caltrops, now that I have it all buffed up, it's super powerful. I'll see it crit for about 1,000 now. 1,000 crit, I've seen it happen on non-player characters. And the reason why it probably crits so hard is you get the 8% damage, weapon damage bonus when you have this. So your weapon damage is through the roof, you know, right now. It's similar to having, if you want to think about it, that other morph, which is Relentless Focus. If you don't want to hunt vampires and do the insane amount of vampire damage, because you're just like, oh, I'm not fighting enough vampires, use Relentless Focus, is my opinion, because then you get another, you know, 8%. Because this doesn't stack, you know. This isn't minor berserking, but also you might get lucky and get that Assassin's Will or whatever, or the Relentless Focus, where you fire the spectral bow. It just, to me, it seems too glitchy, too weird. You know, PvP's too fast. But the cool thing is it gives you the stamina regen, which is real nice. So it's a pretty good ability, and it's an assassin ability. It gives you a nice critical. But this Dawnbreaker, I don't use this ability because I swap over. I just build ultimate on my bow bar. So you can see this has a lower ultimate, 100 ultimate cost. It's absolutely, I just use it purely for damage. And then when I'm ready to, I swap over. I'm like, oh, we got enough ultimate now, using Clouding Storm on you. So this has been a nice little synopsis, you know, a few little morph changes that have really improved this build, as you can see in my second PvP video. We're going to talk about drinks a little bit right here, and just sort of some of the stats stuff. Right now I use this drink right here, Ravala's Righteous Red Carbass. It's a VR12 drink. And the previous video I talked about using food. And what I noticed is, once you get over about 22,000 HP, you're kind of already, that's probably enough HP. Like, somebody was suggesting to me, another friend of mine in this game, he has like 28,000 stamina. And I'm like, you don't need that much stamina. Because you're just going to be, I guess you can get a few more dodge rolls and stuff. But, and he was just like, well, stamina does damage. Well, my Hunding's Rage gives me the weapon power that I need. So him and I have almost the same weapon power. But I have more HP than him, because if you have people like that Saber Ali kind of guy, I think that was him, and this guy too, he said he has about 20,000 HP with the Cyrodiil buffs. That's just too low. And now I was in another campaign and I have about 25,000, and the other campaign I have 26,000 HP, so I even have higher HP. I'm on like the winning team or whatever. So what I use is drinks, because it also gives me HP regen, magicka regen, and most importantly, stamina regen. And I told him this, and I'm like, yeah, let's look at my stamina regen, and it's at 1800. But actually, it was actually, when I told him this, it was at 2200. And I already had this supercharged or whatever before, so I think I must have just killed somebody or something, because you get stamina improvement with the two-handed build once you finish someone off with a two-hander, which is another reason why. Let's take a look at those passives. Something I didn't mention before in the previous video, why you kind of want to pick it. In the heavy weave too, you're heavy weaving attacking, you get to not only do splash damage, which is real powerful. So it's anti-zerg. So you don't have the whirl, you don't have this steel tornado, but you have an inherent splash damage, which is okay. It's mostly PvE related. But this heavy weapon is real powerful. That just gives you bonuses, just like the other weapons, dual blade and blunt. That's the same as dual wield. This is the follow-up. This is what I'm talking about. Gives you a 10% damage bonus. So again, we're talking about percentages. So this scales up real well after your fully charged heavy attack. So as you're heavy weaving, boom, you hit them with a follow-up, a forceful. Sometimes I'll see a damage. It'll say forceful damage next to somebody, but the follow-up does more damage. So the wrecking blow with the follow-up does a lot more damage. So again, just another reason why you're just going to be heavy hitting somebody with the two-hander. And this is the battle rush. Boost your stamina by 30% for 10 seconds after killing an enemy. So my stamina regen with the drinks is just, you'll understand, it's just crazy high. Let's talk about some of the champion points that I was talking about before. I mean, maybe you're interested and maybe you're not. A few little gems I found out. Medium armor focus is a nice one, and resistance is a nice one. Again, I'm just putting little 1 points into them because the bonus is so good. Like if you just put 1 point in it, it's like 1% more. So I'm like, sure, because then it starts to really trail off, like you'll see with the elemental defender. Still kind of the same thing with the lady there. Now with the tower, I went into warlord, and so reduces stamina cost of abilities, and this is pretty good, and it has an okay rank 10. It has an okay rank 10, and then it has okay rank 30 inspiration gains, but it's only good for shield bashers, but it's really good just to reduce stamina cost. So I'm going to confirm that point. The shadow is really good because remember, I want to be the stealth, I want to tumble around, and there's the healing reduction ability, so that one's really powerful. That's what I use for the major defile abilities, so I've started to pick up some of those talents. Again, just 2 little skill points. Now it's reducing you by a lot, but since every ability, most of the major abilities I use stamina, well, I better level this up a little bit at least. Ritual, I still use this is sort of the stamina tree still, and again, I'm just kind of diversifying amongst these. Here's the poison damage one. It's this area. It's in the ritual tree. So again, I'm diversifying it here, and this increases my damage with poison, disease, and magic. So there's the poison right there. Just looking at the butcher real quick. This is a really good ability, but it's at 75. So light and heavy weapon attacks deal 5% damage to people below 25%. So it works really well with this build. You have to have 75 points, so it's a little bit farther away. So if you block, you can return some damage. If you dodge roll an attack, if you have the maximum there, this is a very good PvP build. But I'm looking here at the blade expert, and increase your heavy attack damage, so this could be pretty good. Hope you guys liked this video and like the sort of this little Assassin's Will 2.0 video build of this, and this is definitely better than my previous build. Hope you enjoyed the video. Like, subscribe, comment, and I'll see you in the next chapter. And check out for some new Elder Scrolls PvP videos and other game review videos and so forth. See you around, guys.